me, what do you think of when you think of Memphis, Tennessee?
Elvis Presley. Elvis Presley is daar geboren.
Of course we know Memphis because of Mr. Elvis Presley, of course.
Elvis is born there and he died there. He has for a long time lived there. Big singer of the rock and roll. Elvis, that's all what I know about Memphis.
These folks are among the 150,000 people who live in Enschede, a Dutch city 8 miles from the German border. They're too young to remember the days when the mention of Memphis, Tennessee got quite a different response from the people of Enschede. It was right after World War II, and Elvis Presley and rock and roll weren't even heard of.
We were very bummed through the Second War. So Memphis get in contact with Enschede and wanted to adopt Enschede. And we were very pleased that they have sent us a lot of gifts to help us in a bad situation short after the war.
Yes, the older citizens like Mr. Tervema remember. So it's no surprise to come upon an old hotel in the middle of town, gratefully named after Enskede's sister city, the Memphis Hotel. And here in the lobby of the Memphis Hotel stands this beautiful bronze statue. It was a present in 1951 from the Cotton Trade Journal back in Memphis, Tennessee. And that's not all of the South you'll find in Enschede. Meet the Farahs. Jim's from Nashville, Tennessee. His wife, Gina, grew up in Richmond, Virginia. 8 years ago, they left the magnolia blossoms behind to move to Holland with their 2 daughters.
My husband had a job offer that we felt we couldn't refuse. And at that moment, we wanted a European experience.
And the Farahs are getting one. They love living in Holland and could be there another 8 years, at least until Jim retires. He's an executive with Hollandaise Signal Apparaten, a Dutch company outside of Enschede. Gina's a department secretary at ITC, an Enschede college.
This one that we talked about this morning for Zambia.
Yeah, did you
I asked for
check it with
Their younger daughter, Sue's, in school in the States, but Sally's a law student at the University of Amsterdam. Now, the Farahs weren't always so at home in Holland. When the family first moved to Enschede, no one could speak a word of Dutch.
Struggled terribly, and still do.
Yeah.
We are not, I guess Gina and I, when we got here, we were a little older, and we had never really mastered a foreign language, and the struggle to at least learn how to order a cup of coffee was terrible.
I took a class, but it didn't really do any good.
Mom and Pop were in trouble until Dutch TV came to the rescue.
You sit in front of the television and nothing makes sense for months and months, and suddenly a whole scene comes alive to you. And you begin to relate back and forth the storyline and so forth, and suddenly you can speak a few things.
Today, the entire family's comfortable speaking Dutch. As a matter of fact, both daughters ended up fluent in 4 languages. Gina has all the Dutch she needs for shopping, which is no easy task in Enschede. You see, the Dutch don't have one-stop giant supermarkets.
At the beginning, it was a headache, but now you make it a game. You go to the butchers and the bakers and the greengrocers, and then you have to go to the staple place for the dog food, and then you want to go by the flower shop. So I spend a lot of every Saturday shopping. But that's when I speak my most Dutch, and you make it a game, and it becomes fun.
Wat heb je in lamp voor mij?
Yes, mevrouw, ik heb een uitstekend lamsvlees.
With groceries 15 to 20% higher than in her native South, Gina's determined to get the best cut. So can you blame her for quibbling with her butcher? Some groceries are not just expensive, they're impossible to find, like canned corn and canned pumpkin.
Well, you can't even find the pumpkin. For our Thanksgiving and Christmas dinners, Jim brings back suitcases of 10 things from the States.
And that's not all Gina misses from home.
I just think the biggest luxury would be to have a Sunday newspapers, the nice thick ones with all the supplements and the comic strips. We don't have a Sunday paper here at all.
In Holland, you can find an American movie at every theater. They're played with their English soundtracks with Dutch subtitles for those who don't understand Burt Reynolds' native tongue. So going to the movies American style was one habit the Farahs didn't have to give up. But the Dutch have their own style of dating, as Sally soon found out.
You go out as a group to begin with, and sooner or later a boy will ask you if you'd like to go out, and so he'll come by on his bicycle and you, dressed up, hop on the back of it and go off to a disco.
A totally different culture, new language, no giant supermarkets, no Sunday newspaper, and her daughter's date picking her up on a bicycle. A lot for Gina to get used to. Is life in Enschede at all like life down south? In some ways.
The hospitality is the first thing that comes to mind. The Dutch invite you into their homes. Primarily, it's the Dutch way of entertaining and in their homes, and of course, we in turn invite them. And the pace of life. Life is slow and easy in Holland. Now you can compare it to the canals and to the pace of the bicyclist.
And what about Sally, who grew up in Enschede? Well, she looks at life in Holland in a very special way.
I've become a bit of a cosmopolitan living in Europe, and I see a lot of things that speak to me as an American. There are a lot of things that speak to me as a person who lives in Holland. I love Holland very much, but of course I love the States as well. And I'm torn between two worlds. It's quite fascinating because you can meet people from all over the world within the space of a day. And I enjoy it very much. I don't know exactly when I'll move back to the States, but I think that's one of the things I'll miss the most.
But home is where the heart is. And for now, here's one Southern family feeling quite at home in Memphis' sister city in the Netherlands.